بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين وعلى من تبع هداهم إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد, after praising Allah, the Almighty subhanahu wa ta'ala, and passing salutation upon His Messenger Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam, we go ahead with another episode in one of those companions that we are about to conclude, inshallah, his biography. And the title of this episodes are رِجَالٌ وَمِنَ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ رِجَالٌ صَدَقُوا مَا عَاهَدُوا اللَّهَ عَلَيْهِ. From the believers, there are men who are truthful to their covenant. We have discussed, alhamdulillah, that in our aqidah Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah, that we love the companions, but we don't go extreme in their love, and that we do not free ourselves or dissociate ourselves from any of these companions. We will hate the ones who hate him. And the thing that we all the time will mention them, we mention them in the good times, we mention them in the good ways, we all the time remember them and love them. So their love is to be iman and ihsan, and their hatred is to be kufr and nifaq and tughyan. We affirm the khilafah after the death of the Prophet ﷺ to Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, and then to Umar, and then to Uthman, and then to Ali. And we say that those companions, through them we have received the religion. So we're not allowed to insult them, we're not allowed to curse them, and we're not allowed to mention anything that would belittle them or ridicule them. And the last time that we discussed is the biography of Ali ibn Abi Talib, and we have said that today or tonight we'll be discussing the Khawarij. And the thing that took place between the companions, we said, as the Prophet ﷺ, is to hold our tongue, and not to mention that what took between the companions, except that they have done an ijtihad. Some of them they were correct, some of them they were wrong, but still they're going to be in paradise, and their mistakes, they're going to be rewarded for that because they made ijtihad. And the Prophet ﷺ and Allah, the Almighty subhanahu wa ta'ala, from above 7 heavens, had exonerated those companions and pardoned them regardless. So, before I discuss what took place between the companions, and before I discuss the Khawarij, I would like to shed point on the following things, or shed light on the following points. Number one, that to discuss the issue about the conflict that took place between the companions, it will not get us closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. For verily they have met their Lord, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows what happened in between them. So if something does not get you close to Allah, but actually it will lead you to the hellfire, and without you knowing, so we would say to keep our tongue from these issues, it would be better. And the Prophet ﷺ, he said, "Man naja min thalath faqad naja." Who is saved from 3, then he's safe. He's got salvation. And one of them, that is to be safe from the fitna that took place from the killing of Uthman radiallahu anhu, this Khalifa al-Mustabir. He was patient upon haqq, giving the haqq. So that's what the scholars had said, Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah, and they have confirmed and told us that those companions, they are to be excused, or they could be pardoned from their mistakes. The second point is that we have a group of people whom they claim they love their companions or the family of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Ahlul Bayt, and we say that Ahlul Bayt have got nothing to do with them. Those are the ones who are called Al-Rafidah, Al-Rawafid, or they call themselves the Shia, but the name for them is to be Al-Rawafid. And Al-Rafidah, because they have refused the khilafah of Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, and Ali ibn Abi Talib, and Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu anhuma. So those are the ones which are, you could say, worse in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala even than the Khawarij. And we have some narration, I brought it here from Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah. It is like, I would say, pearls or gold, in which he describes the Khawarij and the Rawafid, and he makes a differentiation between them. So I would like to share some of these things in order to make sure that you are aware of the danger of the Khawarij, and also you are aware in the danger of the Rawafid. So Shaykh al-Islam Taymiyyah, he said that the Rawafid, the danger is more than the danger of the Khawarij. And he said that there are similarity between them and even the ones who are disbelievers. Al-Rawafid, he says, that's number one, if they're not as bad as the Khawarij, they are not below them. For verily, those Khawarij had made a disbelief or takfir upon Uthman and Ali and the followers of Uthman and Ali only. But those Rawafid, they have made a kufr or takfir, that is upon Abu Bakr, Umar and Uthman and most of the Muhajirun and most of the Ansar. And they had not attributed Islam to any of them except for as maximum 13 of them, and the rest are to be kuffar for them. Also, Al-Khawarij, they were one of the truthful people at that time. And they are as well the Khawarij, they fulfill their words in the covenant. But those people who are the Rawafid are from the most lying people, and they will betray their covenant. And also the Khawarij, they used to follow the Qur'an according to their understanding. But these people, the Rawafid, they only follow the Imam whom they call him the infallible, the Imam al-Ma'soom. So Al-Khawarij, they refer to the Quran and the Sunnah, whereas the Rawafid, they refer to their Imams. Al-Khawarij, there was none of them is to be zindiq, kafir. As for the Rawafid, lots of them are zanadiqah, wal-iyadhu billah. Al-Khawarij, they used to pray the Jumu'ah and the Jama'ah. The Rawafid, they don't pray the Jumu'ah nor the Jama'ah, except lately that Al-Khomeini had made, there is a Jumu'ah for them, but they don't pray the Jumu'ah nor the Jama'ah until the Imam al-Ma'soom comes out, or al-Mahdi as they call him. And also it is known that the Khawarij Iman is, according to what the Prophet ﷺ, he had said, that their Iman is great. They say that even that they pray more than the companions and all of those things. Whereas those people who are Rawafid, they are thieves. And when they were appointed to be at the time of Ali ibn Abi Talib, they have robbed things. Also, the Rawafid, they will not believe in any names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala or the attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Also, they are similar somehow to the Jews in lots of things, especially the ones who are followers of the Samiri, from the Jews, they call them the Samirah. And that is why you'll find that the Jews of Asfahan are from Iran, and Iran at the moment is the, you could say, the state or the capital of Rawafid at the moment. And also the Rawafid would stop everything to do that is for the masajid. For example, they will not make the masajid as masajid, they make them as Husayniyat, where the dhikr of Allah is not to be mentioned there, but actually it's all of it to do with striking their chest and chanting and jumping up and down. So it's like a theater. Wal-iyadhu billah. So we come now to the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ. He said that the sa'ah, the hour, will not take place until two groups of my ummah will fight. And their call is to be one. So here this hadith says that there are two groups of Ummah Muhammad ﷺ, they will fight. And those two groups, which is meant here in the hadith, is Ali radiallahu anhu in one side and Muawiyah radiallahu anhu in another side, when they have fought in Siffin. And when they say da'wahuma wahida, that they have got the same call, the same target, that means they've got the same religion, because all of them, they are claiming to be Muslim. Those two groups, they are from the Muslims by the testimony of the Prophet ﷺ when he was pointing to his son Al-Hasan, the grandson of his Al-Hasan, and he said, Inna ibni hada Sayyid, verily my grandson is to be Sayyid. Sayyid means like an eminent person. قال ولعل الله أن يصلح ولعل الله أن يصلح به بين فئتين من المسلمين. And maybe Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he would reconcile through him between two major groups. And it was the fact that when he was given the Khilafah, that is Al-Hasan, he stepped down for Muawiyah for the sake of saving the bloodshed. And that is why he said, the Prophet of Allah, that he will be reconciling between two groups from the Muslims. So two groups from the Muslims, that means the group of Ali and the group of Muawiyah are to be Muslims. So this is a hadith tells us, this is from the prophethood side, because the Prophet of Allah told us about something which is in the future that took place. And also it is a refutation for the Khawarij, because they used to make Ali ibn Abi Talib to be a kafir. And only that, Muawiyah is a kafir for them. And here the Prophet of Allah testifies in this hadith that they are from the Muslims. Also, this hadith tells us the great issue of reconciling between two Muslims. It is a very great matter that the person tries his best to reconcile in order to save the bloodshed. And also, it shows us this hadith that Muawiyah radiallahu anhu wardah, he was a person who was keen to be merciful to his people. And he was good in as well in leadership. Also the same thing with Ali ibn Abi Talib, but the case is that the people accused Muawiyah ibn Abi Sufyan not to do so, or not to be. And also we find from this hadith, it is permissible for the Khalifa to step down from the Khilafah like Al-Hasan he has done in order to benefit the Muslims. Now, also another point here is that we find that it is not allowed for the Muslims to fight with one another. And that is why Abu Umama radiallahu anhu, he said, Shahidtu Siffin, I witnessed Siffin. And I saw that those who fight with each other, they will not kill the one who is injured. They will not be chasing those people who flee. So because of the blood of the Muslims are to be sacred, and because the Muslims, they are aware of that, so if somebody who is, for example, wounded because of a strike of a sword, they will not come and finish him off. Why? Because the Dima al-Muslimin, that is the blood of the Muslim, are to be sacred. So that is what happened at the time between Ali ibn Abi Talib and Muawiyah, the Battle of Siffin. If somebody had run away, they will not follow him to kill him. And if somebody had fell because of he was injured, then they will not finish him off. Now we come into the fight between Aisha radiallahu anha and Ali ibn Abi Talib, which we call it Bawqi'at al-Jamal, the camel incident. And as I said, talking about this issue, I'm talking about it in order to make sure that you are only taking the correct sources. And as I said, talking about such an issue will not get you closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And there are lots of narrations going around which are not to be authentic, so be aware of them. So here we find Aisha radiallahu anha wa ardaha in the hadith which is narrated in Muslim Imam Ahmad, and that is on the authority of Qais ibn Hazm. He said Aisha, when she came to the Hawab, a place, she heard the dogs of the Hawab were barking. So she said, I'm going back. For verily the Prophet of Allah, he said to us, the wives of the Prophet of Allah, who's amongst you whom the kilab, the dogs of Al-Hawab, will bark against? So as Zubayr radiallahu anhu, he said, you want to go back? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he maybe will be put sort of reconciliation through you because you are the wife of the Prophet of Allah. And that is why she kept going. Also, another hadith, it tells us that when she had arrived to that place with water, she said, what is this water? They call it the water of Hawab. She said, I'm going to go back. So the Zubayr and Talha was there. They told her to stay. You are the leader. You are the mother of the believers. People will listen to you. The Prophet ﷺ, he made a testimony to Aisha to say that she will be saved on that battle. The Prophet ﷺ, he told about the future. He said, later shi'r, أيتكن, which one of you, صاحبة الجمل الأدبب, the one who is the owner of the camel that has got a lot of hair on top of his face. That is, she will come out and the dogs of the Hawab will bark against her, and lots of people will be killed on her right and on her left. Too many killings, and she will be rescued, or she'll be safe, even though she was about to be killed, but she will be safe. And this hadith is in Silsila Sahih Shaykh al-Albani rahmatullah alayhi, and this hadith is very great to tell us that Aisha, she will be not killed in that incident. Also we have the Sahaba radiallahu anhum. Even though Sahaba are on the side of Ali ibn Abi Talib, they have testified that Aisha radiallahu anha is in paradise. We have this hadith where when Talha and Zubayr and Aisha, they went to the Basra already, which is it's like a coup. It's basically, it's khuruj. They went out to Basra to meet the people there because of what happened regarding the killing of Uthman radiallahu anhu. Ali had sent Ammar ibn Yasir, and Ammar ibn Yasir is with Ali ibn Abi Talib, and he sent also his son Al-Hasan. So when they went to Al-Kufa, Ammar ibn Yasir, he ascended the pulpit and he put the Hasan at the bottom of the pulpit. So, sorry, Hasan ibn Ali, he was on top of the pulpit, and Ammar was at the bottom of the pulpit. And then Ammar radiallahu anhu, he started addressing the people. He said, verily Aisha, she went to Al-Basra, and I know by Allah that she is the wife of your Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam in this dunya and in the hereafter. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He wants to test you. He wants to see which one you're going to obey. You're going to obey him or her. Obey him, that means obey Ali ibn Abi Talib radiallahu anhu, or obey her. Also, another hadith in Sahih al-Bukhari, on the authority of Abu Wa'il, he said, Ammar, he went to the top of the pulpit, and he mentioned Aisha, and he mentioned her move towards and march towards Al-Kufa, and he said that she is the wife of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu in the dunya and the akhirah, but this is a test for you. So in this story, what Ammar intends to say to us is that even though that he is Aisha, she is in the Jannah, she is in the wife of the Prophet of Allah, but she is wrong, and you should not be following her. And not only that, we have another hadith from Abu Bakr. He said that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had benefited me from a hadith from the Prophet of Allah, that he said any people who would put a woman to be in charge of them, they are not going to be successful. And he's talking about now Aisha, because she was the leader, even though that she's the wife of the Prophet of Allah, but because she's a woman, she cannot be a successful leader, because the leadership has to be for the male, not for the female. Now Aisha radiallahu anha wa ardaha, she admitted she was wrong when she has done that. Not when she decided to go back and then they convinced her to come forward, to go forward, but actually later on. She, radiallahu anha, when she talked to Abdullah ibn Umar, she said, Ya Aba Abdurrahman, Abdullah ibn Umar's kunya, what prevented you from telling me off not to go and march forward to go to Al-Basra? So he said, verily, I was a young person and I've seen a man who was on top of you. That means he was convincing you. That is Zubayr radiallahu anhu. So he was convincing you, I can't do anything. So verily, she said, if you had pulled me off, if you stopped me, I would have stopped. So here she's saying that she had actually regretted what she has done. Not only that, our Shaykh al-Albani brings more of that she had cried radiallahu anha wa ardaha until she had wetted her veil. To tell you that Aisha, she realized that she was mistaken, and then at the end she said, when she was about to die, she said, don't bury me with the Prophet ﷺ and my father and Umar in that room of hers, bury me in the Baqi', for verily I have done something I don't deserve to be buried here. So radiallahu anha, she confessed that she's done a mistake, but regardless, she made it on ijtihad, and she will be rewarded for that, as Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah had said, that the mistakes of the companions, either they're going to be, if he's made ijtihad, he's correct, 2 reward. If he's made ijtihad, 1 mistake, then he's got 2 rewards and 1 reward. So double reward or 1 reward. There will be no sin. Now we come into the Khawarij. This is what promise you're going to be talking about. So the Khawarij, from their description, the Prophet ﷺ, he said that they are the dogs of the hellfire. Who are these Khawarij? The Khawarij are the ones who detached themselves from Ali ibn Abi Talib's army. It happened when the arbitration took place between Ali and Muawiyah to stop the fight and to make an arbitration. These people, they did not accept this arbitration and the reconciliation. So what they did, they detached themselves and they went to a place called Al-Harura between Kufa and Basra. This place is attributed to it all the Khawarij. So the Khawarij you will call Haruri, from Harura. 8,000 from the army detached themselves. They said, we're not going to obey Ali ibn Abi Talib anymore. He is not our Khalifa anymore, because he said that he's not the Khalifa when he made the arbitration, and we have discussed that, if you remember, last time. Jazakallah khair. So here we find that those Khawarij, they understand the Quran and the Sunnah according to their understanding, not according to the understanding of the companions. Prophet of Allah, he called them the dogs of the fire. The dogs of the fire. That means that they are kuffar? No, because any person could be in the fire and still a Muslim, because he might come out of the fire. But the dogs of the fire, some of the scholars, they said they are not Muslims. But we say, in terms of generality, we cannot say they're not Muslims. But if there is some of them inside them or with them who's got a different aqeedah inside, or he believes something and he's got something, a special agenda, that is something else. But in normality, we say that the Prophet ﷺ, he described them to be more in ibadah and more in lots of things. So we say that they are Muslims, but they are from the dogs of the hellfire, as the Prophet ﷺ had described. They are the worst of creation also. شر الخلق والخليقة, as the Prophet ﷺ had mentioned in another hadith. Also, the Dajjal will come from amongst them. I mean, the Dajjal will appear amongst them. So there will be the Khawarij will come out, and the Dajjal will appear from amongst them. And they are the worst of being the killed people, the worst from the killed people, and the best of the killed people who are the ones whom they kill. So if there's somebody killed, that person will be like a martyr in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said that they are the worst of killed people, and the one who's been killed on their hands, he's to be the best of people. Their sign is that the Nahrawan, the day of the Nahrawan, when they fought Ali ibn Abi Talib radiallahu anhu wa ardah. They fought Ali, and because they were people dedicated to their religion, when the army of Ali ibn Abi Talib were fighting them, those people, they will not try to evade the arrows. They will try to take the arrow with their chest, and that's why they were killed. So many were killed of them. And as for the Ali ibn Abi Talib's army, it was just only a few people, a few soldiers have been killed. As for these people, they were totally killed. And Bakr, some of them were done away, and those are the ones who swore to kill 3 people. Muawiyah, Amr ibn al-As, and Ali ibn Abi Talib radiallahu anhu. They failed in the first 2, which is Amr ibn al-As and Muawiyah, but they succeeded to kill Ali ibn Abi Talib, which is, we're going to talk about that inshallah, Abdul Rahman ibn Maljam, al-Jamahullahu an-Nar. So these people are the Khawarij. So their sign, as I said, as well, they will kill the people of Ahl Islam, and they will not kill the people who are idolaters. So you'll find, for example, they will spare the one who's a disbeliever, but they will have no hesitation to kill a person who's claiming to say La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. Also the Prophet ﷺ said Simahum al-tahliq, that they shave. They're shaving their heads. Simahum al-tahliq. And they recite the Qur'an bi-alsinatihim. They will just only by their tongue, it will not go beyond their colors. And they are people of saying, not people of actions. Their deeds might astound the people. People will like it. They will see that what they're doing in ibadah is nothing compared to their ibadah. So that is why the people are saying, oh, mashallah, they are making ibadah, they're making qiyam, they're making maybe the full qiyam. But yet, they are not upon the haqq. They are the ones who will pass through the religion like an arrow passed through the hunt game, as the Prophet ﷺ described. The ones who kill them are the ones who are closer to the haqq. And the one who had killed him, Ali ibn Abi Talib radiallahu anhu, and he's closer to the haqq than Muawiyah ibn Abi Sufyan radiallahu anhum wa ardahum. The Prophet ﷺ encouraged us, if they fight us, to fight them. And the Prophet of Allah, he said, if I live to see them, I will kill them the way that Allah had killed the people of Ad. And how he killed the people of Ad? He had wiped them out. They see their khuruj against Ali ibn Abi Talib as to be hijrah. They say hijrah. So that is why one companion is called Abdullah ibn Abi Awfa, who had lived for a long time after the death of the Prophet ﷺ, when they were fighting the Khawarij. So one person, he was calling another person, so he said, Ya Fayruz, this is Abdullah ibn Abi Awfa. That means the companion. He said, yeah, he's a good man, except that if he made migration. Abdullah ibn Abi Awfa said, what did he say, this enemy of Allah? Migration? What is type of migration after the migration with the Prophet ﷺ? And that is why he said, Tuba, hooray, Tuba, tree in Jannah, for the one who kills them or the one who's being killed on their heads. Ali ibn Abi Talib radiallahu anhu, he tried his best to set them right and to call them to the haqq before he fought them. He didn't want to fight them. And that is why when the arbitration took place between Ali radiallahu anhu and Muawiyah, and those people detached themselves, Ali ibn Abi Talib radiallahu anhu ardah, he sent Abdullah ibn Abbas, and he himself talked to them in order to convince them, to say to them, this is the haqq, why you're not really following the haqq. Some of them, they went back even more than, some narration more than 5,000, so only 3,000 left out of 8,000. And some of them, they were convinced, and some of them, they were not convinced. And I think I have talked about that issue the last time. So finally, as a conclusion, we say that our job regarding the issue of the companions' fight, we say as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said. That is, وَالَّذِينَ جَاءُوا مِن بَعْدِهِمْ يَقُولُونَ, or those people who come after them, they will say, رَبَّنَا اغْفِرْ لَنَا وَلِإِخْوَانِنَا الَّذِينَ سَبَقُونَا بِالْإِيمَانِ. Oh Allah, forgive for us and our brothers who have preceded us with Iman. وَلَا تَجْعَلْ فِي قُلُوبِنَا غِلًّا لِلَّذِينَ آمَنُوا. And don't make in our hearts any hatred or grudge towards those believers, towards those companions. إِنَّكَ رَؤُوفٌ رَحِيمٌ. So here we find that it is incumbent upon us to respect the companions, may Allah be pleased with them, and to overlook their mistakes. Allahu Ta'ala A'lam. Now we come to the final issue, which is we say, قَتَلُوهُ قَتَلَهُمُ اللَّهُ. They have killed him, may Allah kill them. Those are the Khawarij. They have, as I said, planned to kill 3 people, Amr ibn al-As, and Muawiyah ibn Abi Sufyan, and Ali ibn Abi Talib radiallahu anhu. Amr ibn al-As and Muawiyah, they got away, but they failed in their plan. And as Ali ibn Abi Talib, he was killed on the hand of this person called Abdul Rahman ibn Maljam on the Salat al-Jum'ah, after Salat al-Fajr. He was in the Salat al-Fajr, and he was killed on the 23rd of Ramadan, which is one of the nights of Al-Qadr, in the year 40 after Hijrah. He was killed, radiallahu anhu, so he was a martyr by the testimony of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wa alihi wasallam. So now, as for his admonishing, Ali ibn Abi Talib, he has lots of reminders for us. I'll choose some of them for you who could learn from them. From this admonishing, first of all, Ali ibn Abi Talib, he all the time reminded us to be aware of the dunya and not to be taken from the dunya. So he says, when it was said to Ali, صِفْ لَنَا الدُّنْيَا, describe for us what is the dunya, what is the worldly dunya. So he said, why should I, مَا أَصِفُ مِنْ دَارٍ أَوَّلُهَا عَنَاء وَآخِرُهَا فَنَاء. How can I describe a life, which is the dunya, which is like a house, that is the beginning of it is tiredness, because you're going to be working and working, and at the end of it you're going to die. حَلَالُهَا حِسَابٌ وَحَرَامُهَا عِقَابٌ. The halal in it, it will be accounted for on the day of resurrection, and the haram of it, you're going to be punished for it. So if you do halal, you're going to be accounted for that, your halal. And if you do haram, you're going to be punished for it. مَنِ اسْتَغْنَى بِهَا فُتِنْ وَمَنِ افْتَقَرَ فِيهَا حَزِنْ. And he's the person who is satisfied. So he's the one who is keep himself preoccupied by the dunya. He will be in fitna. And the one who leaves it and he's got no money, then he will be faqir and he will be sad. So also, he was asked about the dunya, he said, أطيل أم أقصر? So shall I talk a lot about the dunya or a little? Just make it a little. He said verily the same thing, but then he said, دعوا الحلال لطول الحساب. This halal that you're going to be accounted for, leave it. Don't really indulge into it. Why? Because the reckoning is going to be a long day, and leave the haram because the punishment will be as well a long day. This is from his admonishing, رضي الله عنه وارضاه. And صدق والله. We say that he was truthful because the Prophet ﷺ, he was saying the same thing, because Ali ibn Abi Talib takes from the Prophet of Allah. When he said, قُمْتُ عَلَى بَابِ الْجَنَّةِ, I stood on the gate of paradise. فَإِذَا عَامَّةُ مَنْ دَخَلَهَا الْفُقَرَى. Most of the people that enter the Jannah were from the poor people. وَإِذْ بِأَصْحَابِ الْجَدْبِ. And those people who are rich, they were held back. You know how much? Half a day. And how much is a half a day? 500 years. Even though they are to enter paradise, but luxury in this life, and even though that they are to enter paradise, they will be held for 500 years. So that is why Ali ibn Abi Talib, he said, the halal of it is too much of it. The halal of it is too much reckoning. Prophet ﷺ, he said, the feet of a person will never pass, will not gonna go to Jannah until you're gonna be asked for 4 things. You're gonna be asked about your money. Where did you gain it? And how did you spend it? You're gonna ask about the money. Where did you gain it? And how did you spend it? So this is important. I'm gonna ask about this. So why should I really indulge in the dunya? Ali ibn Abi Talib said, the dunya jifa. The dunya is like a carrion rotten meat. If you want to indulge yourself into it, then you have to be patient that you're going to mix up with the dogs, because only the dogs go to the stinky meat. So you're going to be having to mix up with those dogs. So, and that's why we say, Wallahi was truthful, because the Prophet ﷺ, he said, ad-dunya mal'una, mal'unun ma fiha. The dunya is all of it cursed. Whatever is in it cursed, illa dhikra Allah wa ma walahu alima wa muta'allima, except for the remembrance of Allah and anything which is likewise, and a person who is knowledgeable in deen, and a person who is studying the deen, a person who is a knowledgeable or a person who is a student. And here the dunya is being cursed because it will keep you away from Allah Azza wa Jalla. And the Prophet ﷺ one day passed by a goat, and this goat has got small ears, and he was dead. Then he held it. So he said to the companions, who amongst you would like to buy such a goat with 1 dirham? They said, Messenger of Allah, wallahi, even if he was alive, we will not buy it for 1 dirham because of his asak, he's got small ears. He said, verily, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has the dunya more insignificant than that to you. The dunya is more insignificant in his sight than that which is the goat to you. So don't, preoccupy yourself by the dunya. The dunya is going to go. So a dunya arab, it's just something that's going to, luxury, and they're going to pass away. And every person, whether he's the righteous or the corrupt, will take from it. And the person who is the one who holds himself from the haram and keeps himself to the halal but not too much, he is the one who will be successful. As in terms of his admonishing regarding the death, Ali ibn Abi Talib got lots of admonishing regarding the death, radiallahu anhu wa ardah. For verily, I will translate for you some of those khutbahs of Ali ibn Abi Talib. He says, Ayyuhallah, the one who is oblivious, Al-Gharra bi nafsih, the one who is self-confident, conceited by himself. He doesn't know what is taking place. كَأَنِّي بِكَ وَقَدْ أَتَاكَ رَسُولُ رَبِّكَ. You are about to receive the messenger of your Lord, which is, he's talking about the death. He's talking about the angel of death. لَا يَقْرَعُ لَكَ بَابًا. He will not knock your door. وَلَا يَهَابُ لَكَ حِجَابًا. And he will not be afraid of your guards. وَلَا يَقْبَلُ مِنْكَ بَدَلًا. And he will not accept from you any compensation or any sort of ransoming. وَلَا يَأْخُذُ مِنْكَ كَفِيلًا. And he will not take from you a guarantor. وَلَا يَرْحَمُ لَكَ صَغِيرًا. And he will not have mercy to any of your even little ones, the kids. وَلَا يُوَقِّرُ لَكَ كَبِيرًا. And he will not respect any elders for you. حَتَّى يُؤْدِيكَ إِلَى قَعْرٍ مُظْلِمَةٍ. Until he puts you in a pit which is dark. أَرْجَاؤُهَا مُوحِشَةً. Nobody there. قال كفعله بالأمم الخالية والقرون الماضية. Just like he has done, this angel of death, with the ones who are before you. So here the death, when it comes, is not going to knock your door. It's going to come to you. So أين من سعى واجتهد? Where is the one who had strived and he made money as much as he wants? وجمع وعدد, and he had counted and he had collected. وبنى وشيد, and he had built. وزخرف ونجد, and he decorated. وبالقليل يقنع, بالقليل لم يقنع, and he did not satisfy himself with a little. وبالكثير لم يمتع, and with the lot he did not really as well enjoy himself. أين من قاد الجنود? أين the one who had قاد الملوك? He's the one. Where are the kings? What are the ones who are the leaders? What are the ones who had been arrogance on the people? They are at the moment underneath the sand. They are being dead. So صدق الله سبحانه وتعالى when he said to his prophet, إنك ميت وإنهم ميتون. You're going to die, and you're going to die as Muhammad صلى الله عليه وسلم, and verily all of them they will die. So, Ya Muhammad, عش ما شئت فإنك ميت. So Jibreel salam is telling the Prophet of Allah, live as much as you want, but you're going to die one day. And Umar Khattab radiallahu anhu, he said the same thing. And تذكروا هادم اللذات اذكروا هادم اللذات. Remember the one who is the pleasure destroyer. Subhanallah. Ali ibn Abi Talib said the same thing. اعلموا إنكم ميتون ومبعوثون من بعد الموت وموقوفون على أعمالكم. Know for sure that you're going to die and you're going to be resurrected after the death and you're going to be questioned for what you have done. لا تغرنكم الحياة الدنيا. Don't be deceived from the حياة الدنيا. Don't be deceived with this splendor of this life. لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله. A lot of admonishing, and remember that as I said, your grave is going to be either a pit for paradise or a pit of the hellfire. So you choose. So this is Ali ibn Abi Talib radiallahu anhu warḍah. And this is, as I said, the people of the Khawarij. The Khawarij whom we have found from those ahadith that number one, they are a misguided group. They are number two, they are people who are striving very hard in the religion. They are too strict in the religion for themselves. Not only that, they will exaggerate in the terms of the prayer, in terms of the siyam, in terms of the ibadah. They are worse than the creatures. They will fight the people of Ahl al-Haqq, and the Ahl al-Haqq will fight them. Then there is no iman for them except for what they utter. And they don't have any even sensible minds, because they are youth, and they are young. They will recite the Qur'an, they think it is for them, but it's against them. And the Prophet ﷺ, he had encouraged for wiping them out. لَإِنْ أَدْرَكْتَهُمْ لَأَقْتُلَنَّهُمْ قَتْلَ عَادٍ. For very in their killing, there will be a reward on the day of resurrection. They are the dogs of the fire. So those are the Khawarij. And we see that the Khawarij, as the Prophet of Allah, he said, كُلَّمَا قُطِعَ قَرْنٌ ظَهَرَ قَرْنٌ. Every time they will be wiped off, they will come out again until the Dajjal comes in between them. Those are the Khawarij. And the Khawarij, you could see them from the history in Islam. They started with the time of Ali ibn Abi Talib, and they kept going and going and going until today. We have the Khawarij. And we have people who are finding it that it is very nice to kill a Muslim person. And they give themselves excuses to kill the Muslim. And they have nothing wrong to kill the Muslim. And when somebody who is not a Muslim passes by them, it doesn't matter. SubhanAllah. So I'm not saying that all of these Khawarij, they have hidden agendas, but definitely the one who's running the show is not really just like the ones who are with them. So there are people who are genuinely, they want to follow the haqq. But I tell them, if you want to follow the haqq, how can you put your fate in the hands of people who are unknown? Who's Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi? Who's that person? So you just basically, you take your life and yourself, and you put yourself in the hands of somebody who's not known. I don't understand that. I mean, either this person, he has given up from this life here, or he's got nothing to do, or is failure or something. So let me do something. But how can you put your fate in somebody that you don't know? How? I mean, I don't understand still until today the mentality of these people who gone to a person who hasn't got any tazkiyah from any scholars, no tazkiyah even from any people, just appeared like this with a big beard, and he said Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, name given Abu Bakr and al-Baghdadi, and then people follow. SubhanAllah. It's amazing. أسأل الله سبحانه وتعالى أن ينفعنا بما قد سمعنا. And I'll leave you, inshallah. I got a very sore throat today, and I would like just to cut it to just 15 minutes for the question and answers, and we'll call it inshallah class. Jazakumullah khair. Do you have any questions regarding the Khawarij or the Qadr?
When you say the Khawarij is still going on today, where are these Khawarij?
Brother, why don't you come forward? And the brother in the back, why don't you come forward? I'm asking, what is the reason you're sitting in the back? No, why slowly? Why? I don't really do anything. I don't harm people. I'm just saying, you're still sitting there. I don't know why. Come forward. Come forward. Bring your chair. I don't understand that. Why the people sit in the back? The brothers? You too? When the brother I peed telling for half. No, inshallah. But after 7 years, they will start this, inshallah. Still, why? Forward. It's very important. Wallah, it's very important.
We need to bring these walls.
And I tell you what, bring a chair. You see that chair? I don't mind. Wallah, I don't mind if everybody's sitting on the chair. No problem, inshallah. But this is, we don't sit like this. We have to have students of knowledge. Students of knowledge will sit in the front. The one that's in the back is just like sitting in the canteen. Sit in the front. Nah, khair inshallah. Jazakumullah khairan. So the question is, go.
So when you said the Khawarij is still going on, where do you find this Khawarij? And as
Where do we find the Khawarij now?
Yes.
Yeah.
And as you said that they.
I just said Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, you heard me?
And when you said that they recite the Quran and everything, so how do we differentiate from them that they?
You can't differentiate. Differentiation is only for the scholars. You cannot differentiate unless you are the person who's knowledgeable. If you're knowledgeable, you'll know. And that is why the Prophet ﷺ, he said, there are people of sayings. يَقُولُونَ مِنْ قَوْلِ خَيْرِ الْبَرِيَّةِ They will say from the best of the words, قال الله قال رسوله. But they are the worst of creatures. How can I distinguish? If I'm a person of knowledge, I will know. These people, there are distinguishing marks for them. They are young. You can look at them, all of them young. Young. There's nobody's old amongst them. So they will not listen to the scholars, nor they will listen to the old. So the most hated people to them, the ones who they hate the scholars, and they hate the old people. Because the old people, they tell them, my dear son, you should not go. Oh, you don't understand anything. You're a backward person. True or not? So the old people, they don't listen to them, nor the scholars. So you'll find them young. And they will say to you, Tawaghi, Taghut, kill this, we want to kill them, we want to make Islam the high, good words. But look at their actions. Does that represent their words? Any person got common sense, it's not the way. It's not the way. So, these people, as I said, they can be distinguished either by your knowledge or by the scholars. As for their recitation of the Quran, they deceive a lot. They deceive a lot of people. People, they just say, even some of us, he may be sitting down, he said, well, he's got more iman than you who's speaking. You might say that. It's a problem. He's got more iman. It's like he looks like the hearts, and he's measuring the heart's iman here and there. We say to the brother, you're mistaken. The Prophet ﷺ, he said even about their prayer, better than the prayer of the companions. Their fast is better than the fast of the companions, but they are in the hellfire. The dogs of the hellfire. And the companions, their ibadah was according to the Prophet ﷺ. نعم. خير شو. تفضل.
سؤالي خرجوا على من؟ بغدادي سؤال. أنا ما عندي إنك عم قصدها ما بصير حبيت نعرف خرجوا على من؟
خرجوا على من؟
نعم.
Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, what did he make a coup against? First of all, can I ask, as an encountering question for this Khawarij, Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, where did he come from? And how did he come? And now, straight away, he entered those lands which they so-called liberated by the Jabhat al-Nusra or whatever. Where did they come from? How?
Hollywood.
Hollywood? No. You know, if you study it very well, very properly, you'll find that most of the ones who are leaders are from the Ba'ath.
Not specifically him.
Any person who, the Khawarij in general, any person who revolt ideologically, aqidah-wise, thinking-wise, thought-wise, or action-wise, is called Khawarij. Now he could be fully, he could be partial. Not every person makes khuruj is called Khawarij. He could be having, we call it Naza' Khariji. Naza' means like a branch of Khawarij. This Khawarij, when he comes with his revolting, with his ideology, it would later on go to what? Action, which is the gun. Start with the ideology and then goes to the action, which is the gun, the fighting. Khuruj in Arabic or in sensible terminology is a person who's revolting ideologically or action-wise against the Khalifa, the leader who's been appointed by those people who are, we call it Ahl al-Halli wal-Aqd, the ones who are in charge, not every person. Whether they took this Khilafah or the leadership by force, or they took it by injustice, or they took it by handing it down from his father to the son, or any person of this. That person is a Muslim. Okay, that person. So, if he's not a Muslim, if that person is not a Muslim, that is, we come to a different case. We call it al-masalih al-mafasid. That's a different case. But if he's a Muslim, whether he is zalim or he is salih, whether he is unjust or not unjust, whether he is a person who is wicked or not wicked, he's a Muslim, Islam came to save the blood of the Muslims. And that's what we said the last time, that the blood of a Muslim is better than the Kaaba itself, the blood. So the Islam came to save the blood of the Muslims. Because of that, Islam said that even if that person is an unjust leader, hakim zalim, told us to be patient, because if you want to go a coup against him, it's going to result what? Into more bloodshed and chaos, and there is no control, and you're not going to get and achieve what you are intended to do. If he's a non-Muslim, we said that you must make a coup against him. If he's a non-Muslim, you must make a coup against him. But when do you make a coup? You make the coup when you are, number one, you have the certainty that you're going to replace him with a minimum of bloodshed. But if you're not going to be sure, you're going to just kill him and there's nobody there to lead. There'll be more chaos. Nobody there to lead is no safety. So I have to have, number one, that he is a kafir. Number two, I have to have the scholars to say that he's a kafir. Not anybody says he's a kafir. Somebody's known, a scholar. I don't know Bakr al-Baghdadi, I don't know this person. So number three, I have to have, we will call it al-maslaha al-rajih. That I have, that is more certainty that I'm going to achieve more haqq than batil. Because if I'm not going to make the batil away and not put the haqq on, then I'm going to make more batil. So we say in Shaykh Islam Taymiyyah, من لم يكن أمره بالمعروف معروفا ولا نهي عن المنكر معروفا فقد كان أمره بالمعروف أو نهي عن المنكر منكر أكبر مما أراد أن يأمر أو ينهى. In English, that if a person wants to forbid evil or enjoin good, and it will result into more evil, then whatever he's doing is more evil. And it's important to know this. So if, and I'll give you an example, which is a small example. If a person who's been commanded by the Prophet ﷺ to say to the people, to the women who are naked, إِلْعَنُوهُنَّ فَإِنَّهُنَّ مَلْعُونَاتٌ, curse them. Now this is an Islamic state. A woman passes by, you'll find all the brothers when they see her naked, may Allah curse you. So she will straight away go and cover herself. But in this time and era, in a Muslim country we're talking about, that is, you're not going to find everybody cursing here. One is cursing and the other one. And the one who curses is supposed to curse loud, in order she hears it. If he curses, she might go and call the police. The police will get this guy. Maybe he's got a beard. They'll shave his beard inside the prison. If he's got a bit of deen, they will take his religion away. So what had implemented now, what is going to happen because he enjoined good and forbidden evil? More evil. This person went inside the prison praying, came out of the prison, no beard, no praying. So I would say to him, don't insult that woman loudly. Insult her quietly, because it's not the time to insult loudly. This is what we say, لا ينبغي للمؤمن أن يذل نفسه. It is not fit for the believer to humiliate himself. Messenger of Allah, وكيف يذل المؤمن نفسه? How can the believer humiliate himself? قال أن يحملها من البلاء ما لا تطيق. That he burdens himself things that he's not able to do. If you are able to do, like Abu Dharr radiallahu anhu, Abu Dharr, as soon as he embraced Islam, he said, والله لا أصرخن بها. I'm going to call La ilaha illallah loudly. So he went to the Kaaba, La ilaha illallah. Imagine at that time, all the Muslims scared to pray, and he's shouting, La ilaha illallah. They came and beat him up. And then Al-Abbas, he came to save him. He said, he's from Bani Ghifar. Oh, this is the tribe, well known. They're bandits. So what's going to happen to your caravan between Mecca and Syria? They're going to be invaded. Leave the guy. So they left him. So he said it, he's got what? He's got idda, he's got power behind him to support him. Whereas, so it depends now. Jazakallah khair wa barakallahu feek. If you need to have more information about this person, Abu Bakr and those people, I will go and advise you as an Arab, go to YouTube and put Sa'd al-Shitri, Sheikh Sa'd al-Shitri, Khawarij, Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, and he studied them properly. And mashallah, I heard it, mashallah, all of it. Very nice. And he says, basically, that the ones who are holding the stick and running the show from behind, he accused them to be non-Muslims from the Ba'ath. Yeah, the non-Muslims. But the ones who are fooled, the miskeen, the guys that are, oh, la ilaha illallah, they're fooled. But the one who's running the show, non-Muslims from the Ba'ath. Wallahu ta'ala a'lam. And they've got, like somebody who said to me, you're American, they gave them the planes and Allah al-Musta'an. Lots of funny things happening. Allah, further.
Sheikh, about who killed Ali. So we talked about the Rafida, we talked about the Khawarij. And just very briefly, sorry,
Abdul Rahman al-Maljam is a Khawarij.
Okay. And then the Shia, or the Rafida came, and the Rafida started from that point on.
The Rafida, they are not linked to the Khawarij, but every time there is Rawafid, there is Khawarij. Subhanallah. And every time there is Khawarij, there is Rawafid. If you notice that. In the era, you look at the history, there's Khawarij, there's Rawafid. And when there is Khawarij and Rawafid, there is lots of lands of Muslims can be taken away by the non-Muslims. And it's easy for the non-Muslim to invade all the time. So, when you had Khawarij in Syria, Libya, the non-Muslim came and invaded, and they took more of our land, Allahu A'lam. So, those Rawafid later on will, Ibn Alqami later on will come, Mansur al-Tusi, and all of these people, they will come. If you want to read about the Khawarij more, the Rawafid more, then I will tell you to read Minhaj al-Sunnah to Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah. Minhaj al-Sunnah is the Sa'iq al-Mursalah on the Rawafid. Now,
Sheikh, we said that the Khawarij intended to kill Ali radiallahu anhu and 3 other Sahabas.
they killed it.
They killed, yeah. And what was their main? Is that the specific agenda they had, or is there something bigger that they?
No, because they had the Nahrawan, he killed them, so they swore to kill him.
Sure.
Yes. Yeah, it's like a vendetta or a revenge.
Yeah.
Now, further.
What's the hukm of Shari? What's the rule?
There is as well a book called Al-Awasim, Al-Qawasim. Read that book. That will talk about detailed incidents of this. But watch out for, because in the Wazir, in that book, he has more, you could say, I wouldn't say extremism. We'll call it ghulu, exaggeration regarding respecting the companions. So for example, he says that Aisha radiallahu anha, she did not make khuruj. Aisha radiallahu anha, she's not wrong. And that's what we say it's wrong. Whatever he said. We said that we love them, but not to the extreme to make them faultless. They make faults, they make mistakes. So watch for that, but Al-Awasim Qasim is a very good book.
Yeah, I was saying the Rawafid, are they Muslims?
Al-Rawafid, are they Muslims or not?
Yeah.
Okay. We say like following. Any person who says La ilaha illallah, Muhammadur Rasulullah, I cannot chuck him out of Islam unless he brings the nawaqid, the nullifiers of Islam. So I could say from the Rawafid, every person who believes in the Rafidi Aqidah is a kafir. How about that? But is every Rafidi believes in every Rafidi Aqidah? Some of them they don't know anything about what is going on. Some of them. And a few of them they know, lots of them they know, but they hide. But some of them they don't know. Like the general masses, they don't know. So if they said that, they say Allah Ali, and we have Muslims from the Sunnah say Allah Muhammad. Oh Allah Muhammad. The Brahwis, you know the Brahwis? The Brahwis, the ones that have got their masjid, Ya Allah Ya Muhammad. Any masjid called Ya Allah Ya Muhammad is a Brahwi masjid. They're from Ahl Sunnah, they call themselves, because they're not Shia. They are hardcore Sufis. The Brahwi Aqidah is kufr. Any person who believes the Brahwi Aqidah is a kafir. But is every Brahwi believes in the Brahwi Aqidah? I thought we're going to make takfir of lots of Muslim guys. Same thing with the Nusayriyah. Or the Nusayriyah is very hardcore Shia. Very hardcore. Zaidi is different. Any person who, we can't say any person who believes in Zaidi is a kafir. No. Zaidi is they are the least in their deviation. Least in their deviation. But any person who believes in Nusayri is a kafir. But not every Nusayri is believer in the Nusayriyah.
They
could be ignorant. But if they say La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah, their ignorance can save them from being in the eternal hellfire as a kafir. And that's an important issue. So we don't make takfir with wholesale. You know wholesale? Wholesale takfir. We don't make that. Takfir for us is individual. It's not wholesale. Rawafid kuffar, Nawasiriya kuffar, are they kuffar? No. Even the Qadianis, we can't say Qadiani is kuffar. We say the ones who believe in the Qadiani is a kafir. But is every Qadiani believes in the Qadiani? Maybe he doesn't know. So because they say La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah, because of that word, have to be backing off. So What Sheikh Al-Albani said, takfir bil jumla. That's a wholesale. Takfir bil jumla. Bil jumla. No, we don't do that. We make it, this person, he is from the Rawafid. If he believes that, number one, all the companions, or some of the companions are kafir, and he hates them because they have narrated the religion, he's a kafir. If he say that he hates them because they have narrated the deen, they are kuffar. But if he hates Abu Bakr and Umar, not because they convey the deen, because he believes that they have taken the rights away from Ali, or taken the right way from Fatima, then they are deviant. The difference between the two, very big difference. If he hates the companions as a narrator of the hadith and the ayat of the Quran, they're kuffar. If a person believes there's another Quran besides our Quran, he's a kafir. If a person believes Aisha radiallahu anha is not exonerated, he is not free from what she's been accused of fornication, he's a kafir because he's a disbeliever in the ayah of the Quran, Surah Al-Nur. And so on and so forth. So you could say it like this: any person who believes in the Rawafid Aqidah is a kafir. Any person believes in the Qadiani Aqidah is a kafir. Any person who believes in the Nusayri Aqidah is a kafir. But I can't say all Nusayri kafir, all Rawafid kuffar, because some of them are ignorant. They don't know what is happening. Because they say La ilaha illallah Muhammadun Rasulullah. Because of that word, we back off. If he doesn't say La ilaha illallah Muhammadun Rasulullah, I mean, what is a takfir? Because he's not a Muslim to make takfir on him. He's not a Muslim to make takfir on him. He doesn't say La ilaha illallah Muhammadun Rasulullah. So he's not a Muslim. He's a kafir. Now, further.
Sheikh, the siege of Mecca.
Siege of Mecca.
Yes, 1979. Was that done by Khawarij as well?
Al-Juhaymani, you mean?
Yeah, Juhaymani.
If I can't find a better example than those people, then I think I'm failing. They are the best example for Khawarij. They have killed Muslims, bloodshed. They have made even more than that. Khuruj, plus they have violated the sanctity of Mecca, of the Kaaba. They have violated that the Prophet ﷺ, he said this is a safe haven. No guns to be carried. That's why you find that the police there are not allowed to carry guns. And if the Prophet ﷺ said, if you want to go make tawaf, you have to put the sword in the sheath so it does not hurt the people. It's a place where the people has to go there with what? Safety. They don't feel somebody's going to kill him with a dagger. They have to feel safe. That's why. So they have violated that. Prophet of Allah, the only one from the prophets whom Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had given him 1 hour during the day, when he had opened Mecca, 1 hour, he made it what? Halal for him to kill these people who are apostates. He said, kill them, even if you see them hooking themselves to the shrines of the Kaaba. Kill them. And they were 13. Prophet ﷺ, companions, they killed 4 of them. And then he made a speech. Verily, if anybody wants to take this as an example to go and still killing in the Kaaba, tell them that Allah had gave him a permission for his Prophet Muhammad ﷺ for 1 hour of the day. And then the permission is khalas, finished. No killing after that in the Kaaba. So, no for Juhayman or Duhayman or any person. These people have managed to smuggle their weapons inside what? The coffins. You know, the person is dead. Instead of carrying dead people to the haram, they carry what? Coffins, which is full of guns. Now that's why all those people will be carried to the Kaaba to be buried, they will be checked, double checked. And they've killed lots of people. And they've massacred lots of people. That's why the penalty was death. Okay, the penalty was death. And they say, the claim that Sheikh Al-Albani said, no, it's not death. No. Sheikh Al-Albani said they shed the blood. And their penalty is like what the Sheikh Ibn Baz had said, it's death. Because they killed people. Now, and you know that the story how they were taken out?
Yeah.
How? You tell us, inshallah.
Well, they say that according to this, I listened to Sheikh Yasir Qadi.
Yeah.
He said they came after the siege, the army came in, and there was a battle for I think about 10 days. And then there was French troopers that came, 4 of them, and they killed.
They're taken out by water, isn't it? Flood.
But who did that, the water?
The French troops, as far as I've heard.
Not right. There's more than that. The story's not really French. But I'm not going to talk about it, but I'll leave it. Because man khada fi ghayri fannihi ata bil ajab. The person who talks about something which is not in his field, he will be hilarious. So I don't want to talk about something which is not my specialty. It's not my specialty, so I'm not going to talk about it. But I don't believe it's a French. Allah Ta'ala. نعم. نعم.
شيخ هل يجوز الصلاة في المساجد تاع البراولية؟
Can we pray in the praying masajid? You mean in the pray behind them or pray in the masjid? The masjid itself you could pray. You come, there's no place to pray. You pray in the masjid. But with the behind them, no, don't pray behind them. Don't pray behind them, because our scholar they said that these people, they are Brahmins and they most likely they will believe in the Brahmi Aqidah, which is kufr. Okay, which is kufr. So we don't pray behind them, but if you pray inside the masjid, no problem. You are allowed to pray in the church as long as there is no statues, which is impossible, or pictures, which is impossible.
How about if it's a Jumu'ah and you just walk in and you wouldn't know whether there's a Brahmi mosque?
If you didn't know, no problem.
Okay.
If you knew, but you should not go there. No, I wouldn't say to repeat that Jumu'ah unless you knew that Imam, he believes in the Brahmi Aqidah. Being a Brahmi, it doesn't mean that he believes in the Brahmi. Believe me, I know some of the Imam, one Imam, who's the leader of the Brahmi Aqidah, he's not a Brahmi. And he doesn't believe in the Brahmis. So why are you there?
It's the same thing, isn't it?
You usually do that car.
Darawish is different from the Brahmis. Totally different. Darawish is different. So the ones in Turkey, the ones who are whirling, is different. These Brahmis come from India and Pakistan. In India, the source. In Pakistan, the area where it's. Okay? Most of the Pakistanis are either Brahmi, most of them Brahmis, or they are from Ahl Hadith, or they are from the other parties, or they're non-Muslims. But most of the Pakistanis are from the Brahmis. Most of them. And the Brahmis have taken their Aqidah, most of it from their next door neighbor, which is what? Hinduism. Next door, Hinduism. That's why some of the rituals are Hinduism. Some of the rituals of the Brahminism is Hinduism. And they are calling on the Prophet ﷺ. For them, any people like yourself, he's an enemy. They call any person who's not a Brahmi to be a Wahhabi. Yeah, any person who's not a Brahmi is a Wahhabi for them. And Wahhabi is for them is halal, his blood. Okay? It's halal, his blood. Halal means to kill him. Allah musta'an. So that is why you find that, for example, they hate us and they don't pray behind the haram. You know that? Their Brahmis, they don't pray behind the Imam of the haram because they see that their prayer is invalid. Just like we see our prayers are invalid behind them.
Sorry, Shahin, Brahmi is same as Deobandi or they're different?
No, they're different. The Deobandis Wahhabis for the Brahmis. Okay. The Brahmis called Deobandis Wahhabis. And the Deobandis are even more extreme than us regarding the Brahmis. They will say the Brahmis are kuffar. Not like us, we say that the one who believe. They say no, call them kuffar. The Deobandis. Nah.
Is the founder of the Brahmi movement Ghulam Ahmed Reza Khan?
Yes.
Who is the brother of Qadian?
I know, well, the link between him and Qadian is very close. Yeah, but being a brother doesn't mean, but it's very close. But I just said, they take so many ritualism from the Hinduism. Yes. Okay. Any other question? Last question.
Nothing to do with the...
Nothing to do with the religion?
No. The subject we're talking about. Can we memorize the Qur'an and read it without ahkam? Is it permissible?
Can we memorize the Qur'an and read it without ahkam? Which ahkam are you talking about?
Tajweed.
يعني أحكام like فتح ضمة or أحكام إخفاء. No problem to learn the Quran without the أحكام of those أحكام which is only the scholars they know about. So for a person who is a young person, he doesn't know the أحكام, just make it to memorize. Later on he will learn the أحكام. But I'm just saying he's not learning the أحكام because he can't learn it.
No, you can't. You can't.
So then learn them. We would say to them, it's better for you to learn them because the Prophet ﷺ, he said, Al-Mahiru bil-Quran, the one who is good in something in the Quran, مع السفرة الكرام البررة. He's with the angels and those who are prophets. So he's high. So we tell them to master the recitation of the Quran, but we don't stop him from memorization because of he doesn't understand the ahkam. But he has to know fatha dhamma kasra. That's the most important thing, to read the Quran properly. جزاكم الله خيرا. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك. أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك.